Welcome back once again to The Pulse. We are on the wire. Lots of news to talk about this week. And up first, Heart of the Swarm beta changes. Blizzard has once again pushed another patch through on the beta servers. And a couple of changes. They're not as sweeping as changes we've seen in the past, but they are evidence of a continued effort by Blizzard to get Heart of the Swarm ready for release. Up first is the Oracle Envision change. They have buffed the duration of Envision. That way oracles can have detection for longer.
I'll save you a lot of time, Ben. It's boofed.
Boofed?
Yeah, they boofed.
They boofed it?
Yeah, they boofed it.
Boosted and buffed.
Now it's doubled.
Boofed.
Or doofed.
60 seconds now. A small change, but probably a pretty important change, guys. We were talking in previous weeks about how having faster burrow opens up some new options for Zerg players, and now with the Oracle being a more reliable source of detection, maybe it's something that Zerg is going to have to rethink. What do y'all think? Anything noteworthy about the Envision change?
One thing that is noteworthy is that when you do have an Oracle pop out immediately, it's 50 energy, so you can immediately detect, and that was the reason for it. 60 seconds is not that much of a large increase, but it does help. And it does really help more for, I think, things like Banshees as opposed to like Burrow Roaches.
I think it has a lot to do with PvP, because as far as I know, PvP right now is all about Stargate, at least on the high level. So often people try to go Dark Templars. It's like either DTs or Stargate, and now with the increased Envision, you can be a little bit safer against Dark Templars. Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much, because think it's like, okay, 30 seconds you can kind of deal with, but let's say I have a 7-minute Dark Templar timing. All of a sudden, because of one Oracle, I have a 8-minute Dark Templar timing.
And then there is another Oracle.
I can make another Oracle within the 60 seconds. So it basically makes Dark Templar tech not useless, because I still think it has a lot of
and it's still so cheap, man.
And it's still so cheap. You can merge them into not Dark Archons, just regular Archons, which has a lot of utility.
We need to bring back the Dark Archon.
I want to see invisible Archons.
I would love
How
that.
cool would that be? It's like a bunch of
like
Mulas
a cloaked Archon?
Yeah.
It's called a mothership, bro. I'm just kidding.
Then I want to cloak the mothership too, then.
I still think that DTs underneath the mothership should be revealed, because
two
negative
negative forces.
Yeah, so it's like if you cloak a cloaked unit, it reveals it.
Or it double cloaks, so you need 2 observers.
We thought about that too. It's a deeper level, man. It's a silver light method
10,
for you.
9, 8, deeper and deeper now.
Deeper and deeper. Going deeper.
Another small change on the beta servers. The Widow Mine getting another buff. Doing bonus damage versus shields now. The implication here is that Stalkers will now die in a single shot versus requiring extras. As you can see there in the video, the splash damage will not kill the extra Stalkers, but a single Widow Mine will kill a single Stalker, and this, of course, does give that Widow Mine opening a lot more merit in turn versus Protoss.
Something that's a lot more important, it one-shots Oracles now.
Yeah.
Oracles have exactly 160 health. 0 armor, so they die in one shot. I think that's the most important thing, because Blizzard was saying, hey, Whiterun needs to be nerfed.
It also one-shots mothership cores as well,
No.
which is really good.
That's a misconception. Mothership cores do not die in one shot. A lot of people on the forums are posting about that.
Well, sorry, my bad.
It's okay, Dan.
Okay.
We all make mistakes sometimes.
That's right. Sometimes I make 11 mistakes in a row, man. And I let you win 11-0.
Anyway, how much life does the mothership core have after it's alive?
I think maybe 15 or so.
Yeah, it's like very, very small amount of red health. It's actually, we had the mothership core getting shot in that video, but I guess we cut it out for the show, so it sucks for you guys. Overlord Speed now available on Hatchery Tech. Zerg players will be able to research that extra scouting tool before getting their lair, and I've got to say that I'm not that impressed with it. I wasn't having any real issues with scouting. Maybe in some capacity, on some level, it's hard somewhere for somebody to scout something, but Overlord's already kind of fast, given the buff that we got back in Wings of Liberty.
They're super fast.
I mean, it's like VTech.
It's like Fast and the Furious Overlord Edition.
It is, man.
Honestly, I don't know where or what matchup this would affect. This is a 100 investment that you have to go into the Overlord. So are you really going to do that, or just get your lair a little bit earlier and then get an overseer?
Make an overseer.
Yeah, it's like...
You can also drop changelings and see invisible stuff.
Exactly. So I feel like this is really negligible. If you want to make this anywhere useful, you have to drop it to 50-50.
Yeah, I was feeling the same way. It's just way too expensive right now to do it on Hatchery Tech.
But at the same time, it's also not something that feels like necessary at all.
No.
Like, I really don't get the change. I guess it's cool that Blizzard's trying to stay in front of stuff.
I am positive that we're going to see very new one base all-ins, especially in TVZ
from
Heart of the Storm.
Overlord Speed.
No, well, no. One base all-ins from Terran involving like Mass Marauder, Hellbat, or something like that. We're gonna see stuff back.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
Was it IEM the first one with
IEM Gamescom
with
Morrow
and Idra?
5Rex Reaper.
Yeah, on Steps of War.
No, Marauder Hellion on Steps.
Yeah,
of War.
think about Pulse Marauder Hellion from, I guess, Assembly. Was that the first time he really busted it out?
Yeah, and back then his games on Lone Star as well.
Yeah. Marauder Hellbat sounds.
So I
much
feel
more
like
ridiculous.
Overlord Speed might be useful in those type of situations, but
Metagame's got
100 is way too expensive. That is off of 2 gas. That's still a very long time.
Infestors have been nerfed again. The projectile speed reduced from 15 down to 12. Blizzard has taken a pretty hard line on the Infestor in Heart of the Swarm. They say we do not want it to be the metagame deciding unit that it has been in Wings of Liberty, and we're going to continue to nerf it and nerf it and nerf it until we feel like it's in a place that Zerg players don't want to only make Infestors. I'm actually okay with this. If we look at the Heart of the Swarm show matches from IM Brazil recently, Killer made a lot of Infestors, and he did very well with them. So we can see that there's still a very strong unit, even with the projectile speed being down further and it being easier to dodge. There's still going to be a strong unit, but frankly, I like that we're moving away from Mass Infestor because that sort of Turtle Brood Lord style of Zerg, I just don't like it.
And it's not just that. I think now in general the Infested just becomes a more exciting unit because now we can actually say, and it will mean something, amazing fungals if they hit him.
I would like to see, with all these nerfs to the Infestor, I would like to see perhaps the reintroduction of it being able to cast some spells while burrowed. I think Neural Parasite is something that we're not seeing much of anymore, and I think it's worth testing burrow with Neural.
Yeah, about that, but I don't know.
I think
let's call it a working order.
I think he's onto something. Neural should also have 22 range like the Tempest. So
Yes,
that he can
yes, and maybe
And work together with the Spore Cannon that shoots payments, right, Ben?
the Spore Cannon is the greatest idea that has ever been had.
Hey, well, now there's Planetary Fortress, the Nexus with
And burrow,
Planetary Nexus.
yeah, Planetary
right.
Nexus.
and burrow 22 range Neural Parasite. I don't know
Exactly.
why you would put that.
You need to balance it out.
Speaking of the Spore Crawler, Blizzard is at least somewhat addressing the concept of the Spore Cannon. They have buffed it substantially against biological units. What does that mean? Well, it means that Muta versus Spore Crawler is not going to be such a close fight anymore. Spore is now doing an additional 15 damage to biological units. Yes, that does mean that 16 Mutas will die to 4 Spore Crawlers if you micro them like that.
Great micro, Ben.
Yeah. I can tell you did this.
Great creep spread. I'm going to post it on the front of Reddit.
This is a very suggestive media.
When I was just going through and collecting that footage, I did take, after that first shot, I took 13 Mutalisks against 4 Spore Crawlers, and I shift-clicked so that they would focus fire, and the 4 Spore Crawlers still killed 13 Mutas. It is a massive buff to the Spore in that regard.
Yeah.
Why are you so giggly?
Double DPS.
This has really made me think of like those old Telcel videos, you know, where they had like a cleaning, like a new cleaning something, you know, and suddenly they clean like everything, and it's like, look how amazing this is. And like Ben is like doing the exact opposite, like, look how strong these spores are, and he's like totally right-clicking the Mutas move command across the screen. I can't do anything anymore.
No, it's a huge buff. Blizzard has come out and said that they felt like Muta was kind of the end-all be-all in ZVZ in the current state of the metagame.
Yeah,
because
they were
have been
very
made a lot
strong.
better. And by making the Spore Crawler a little bit better against the Mutalisk, it does open up other options. I still think Mutas are really strong in ZVZ. I played a bunch of ZVZs yesterday. By a bunch, I mean like 4 or 5 in a row on the ladder. And
you
I
microed
felt
better than in that video, Ben. That's Paul's advertisement.
I was really intentionally trying to not play Muta, and I was struggling. Like ZVZ is confusing me right now, just in general.
You know, I think this change is actually very, very good. Mutas are still going to be applicable, but you get into the stage with ZVZ where even if you have Infestors and Hydras and you're on 2 base because, or even 3 base, that counterattack threat is just so scary. And even
really
with the
leave.
Spore Crawlers now, I think it's still very scary. You're not going to be able to put down 2,000 minerals worth of Spore Crawlers in all 3 of your bases and say, okay, I'm fine. So I feel like there's always going to be an opening, yet it does give you the potential to say, hey, you don't have enough mutas right now, I'm going to hit you. And because you're just popping out the mutas, I can actually have this timing and do something with it.
The strength of the muta is in its ability to deny that third base, especially on a lot of maps these days where there's that big gap between the natural and the third that you have to cover with creep if you're going to defend it without having something mobile like a Mutalisk. Like, it's very tough to take a third with just Hydras because they are so slow. In the instant they're saving your third base, you've got Mutas in your main base, and it's just pretty frustrating. So I like the change. I like what it's going to do to the matchup, and I'm eager to see what those top players come up with in ZVZ.